what's kept me at TYT as long as I've been there has been Cenk Uygur. And, that's the CEO of the company, also my co-host on the main show. And I know that there are a lot of people who think he's terrible, he rubs them the wrong way, but put your personal feelings about him aside and at least give him credit for fostering a work environment where people are comfortable voicing their opinions, stating what their genuine analysis is without fear of retaliation from management.
Ana Kasparian once again wrecks the woke left. Okay, so here's Ana Kasparian appearing on a YouTube podcast talking about progressive politics destroying America, as well as the fact that Ana Kasparian and Brandy are commenting about the West Coast craziness, as well as breaking free from the echo chambers of the woke left. So Ana Kasparian is making another appearance talking about how the woke left has brainwashed people as well as drove a lot of people away this year. So if you enjoy what's being shared by Ana Kasparian in this video, go ahead and smash the like button, share the video far wide across social media. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Risk alienating my audience, or do I just sort of keep doing what I've been doing? When you've been all over conservative media lately, and they've been celebrating you and heralding you as this, truth teller on the left, which I think you are. How much of the changes in sort of your worldview that have happened recently are a result of your personal experience in Los Angeles versus your experience covering politics?
I would say equally both. Covering politics, I think the most well-meaning individual will kind of take their side at face value. And unfortunately, there are certain narratives in this like filter bubble type media landscape that unfortunately kind of propagandizes you, even if you're doing your best not to buy into propaganda. And so it takes a lot of effort to kind of pierce through that bubble and listen to other perspectives. But by covering the news and hearing certain narratives on the left, and then seeing them kind of renege on some of those narratives, or at least do things that are hypocritical to the values they purport to have, that kind of started waking me up to things. And I think that maturity growing up, you gain some wisdom and you kind of start to understand that people are complex, they're very complicated, and how they arrive at their political identity is really different for everyone, right? And so the assumption that everyone on the other side is a monolith and they're all bad people, I think was a terrible way to operate. And so for the last few years, I've kind of rejected that notion and have made a good faith effort to consume news that's presented by various perspectives. But more importantly, I've reached out to people both privately and on camera to kind of understand their perspectives, how they arrived to the conclusions they've arrived to. And it's given me a more robust and comprehensive view of what our political landscape really looks like. Not everyone on the right, is holding tiki torches and marching while saying the Jews will not replace us in Charleston. Okay, that's not indicative of all Trump supporters. And I think that, there are some areas of common ground where I think the left and the right could work together. And I'm talking about the electorate here, and demand more from their elected lawmakers. But you would never know about those areas of common ground unless you're willing to have those conversations.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely right, because the fact of the matter is that, as you all know, she was a part of the left. I mean, she still agrees with the left on policy, but she's no longer associated with the left. But at the same time, she's now also not a part of the right. But the thing is, the woke left out there, like Hassan Piker and everything, for example, they're adamant in trying to get people to win them over it and everything. Whereas people on the right, they want people to see it for themselves, okay? Without having to be told and stuff they can be introduced to it. But the fact that the matter remains is that whenever anything's being discussed about when it comes to politics and stuff, or even religion, I mean, you may go ahead and have a lot of people think for themselves.
Was it hard for you? I mean, did you have this internal struggle with, because when you make your living based off of your opinion like we do, you cultivate an audience that I think for the most part just naturally agrees with your opinion on a lot of things. So did you have any internal struggle on coming out as forcefully as you have with some of the problems of the Democratic Party? Or was it never a question for you like, no, I'm just going to say what I feel?
In the beginning, of course, there's a lot of fear. You know what's coming. I expected a lot of the backlash I'm getting to happen. But to be honest with you, it's actually been a lot worse than I expected. And so I'm going through it right now. And so, our audience has definitely suffered as a result. Our viewership has suffered as a result. We're going through that right now as we speak. I had a conversation with Glenn Beck recently. Glenn Beck and I have many areas of disagreement, certainly when it comes to religion. I don't believe in organized religion. He clearly does. And some of that, some of those religious values inform his political views. So naturally, there are going to be some differences. But I went into the conversation wanting to engage in like real discourse, a genuine exchange of values, ideas, where we stand, what we think would make the country better. And I enjoyed the conversation. But it was hilarious because one of our contributors was so offended that I would even have the audacity to speak to someone like Glenn Beck, that he did this whole performative spectacle of quitting TYT and claiming that I'm putting Black bodies' lives at risk. I think people are done with that. I'm done with that. Having a conversation does not put bodies at risk. And I would prefer to refer to individuals as people. But anyway, like that's some of the stuff that's been going on. And unfortunately, every time, someone does that, they're going to take a portion of our audience along with them. But ultimately, I want to find my people. And by that, I mean, I want to foster an open-minded audience that's looking forward to hearing from conflicting and varying perspectives. That's what makes America great. And you're not going to come up with good solutions, policy solutions, if you're under the assumption that one side of the political aisle gets everything right and the other side of the political aisle gets everything wrong. In fact, what we've experienced locally has led me to really believe that there are a lot of policy prescriptions that the left has been pushing for. They've been implemented on a local level and they're not great. They need to be recalibrated in the very least. And what's shocking is just this inability to ever accept, hey, maybe this policy was well-intentioned, but we do need to recalibrate so it works better.
Yeah, and
That's definitely true, because of the fact that the matter is, when it comes to the woke left, I mean, the woke left is nothing more than like a lot of people and stuff who have been misguided or mistaught, or simply, want to be right on that argument and everything. I mean, that's how like I was when I was a part of the left, like over a decade ago, and the fact of the matter is that they like people who are on the woke left, they're known to be, want to be right about everything, want to indoctrinate people, want to go ahead and try to force them to believe what they believe and agree with them and stuff. When the fact of the matter is, when it comes to like agreeing or disagreeing, that's not a part of their forte. Okay, it's for them, it's my way or the highway. Okay, and it's people like Kasparian right here who are tired of it. Whenever you go ahead and try to basically challenge somebody's thoughts and stuff or opinions, that's fine. But when it comes to like trying to force them to conform and everything to your beliefs and stuff, even when you doing the very things that you're accusing those who are Christians out there of doing, that's where you become a hypocrite. That's where you turn a lot of people away. Okay. And for the fact of the matter is that whenever that happens, they lose at the end. Either way, nothing will profit for them.
I want to talk a lot about that, because that's the real mind-boggling thing to me. Like we see it, we see what's happening, we see the numbers, we see it with our own eyes, and the inability to just say, you know what, that ain't it is shocking to me. To your point about an audience, because we've experienced it a little bit, from the further right, I guess, in Washington State, losing some people over support of particular candidates and more moderacy. And I almost think, though, that that's a stronger audience to build in the long run, like an audience that's independent minded, and they aren't going to abandon you if you disagree with them on something. So is TYT, have they been supportive of, besides that one contributor, supportive of you sort of speaking these truths?
What's kept me at TYT as long as I've been there has been Cenk Uygur. And, that's the CEO of the company, also my co-host on the main show. And I know that there are a lot of people who think he's terrible, he rubs them the wrong way, but put your personal feelings about him aside and at least give him credit for fostering a work environment where people are comfortable voicing their opinions, stating what their genuine analysis is without fear of retaliation from management. I've never once worried about getting fired because I have a different perspective on a political issue. And in fact, he and I have gotten into some pretty huge debates on camera. And afterwards, it's all love. Like, we have this mutual respect for each other. And honestly, I have mutual respect for everyone I work with. And what's really sad is when I notice that, the respect that I'm treating everyone with isn't necessarily reciprocated based on my own personal values or my personal perspective on certain stories or certain policies. And I just don't know when it got to a point where, and it's not everyone on the left, I want to be clear about that, but there's certainly a faction of the left that is unwilling to even consider or hear the perspectives of someone they disagree with. And I think that's made the left weaker. It's made it less likely that they are able to defend their positions if they do, in fact, engage in a debate with, let's say, a right-wing media pundit or content creator. And I just don't think the left is doing itself any favors by shutting itself off from, challenges to what they already believe.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This is the side of Ana Kasparian that I've always wanted to see. This is the kind of Ana Kasparian that I think we can all get behind. And I'm glad that Ana Kasparian said what she said. And the fact of the matter is that Ana Kasparian is right. When the left continue doing what they're doing and everything, especially when it comes to like having discussions or even debates with right-wing commentators and stuff, Ana Kasparian laid it out there that they're not going to have an argument to stand on. They're going to be weaker and everything. No one's going to take them seriously as and stuff. And the fact of the matter is, this is why Ana Kasparian left the left, because of the fact of the matter is that, they don't want to have any conversations on opposing viewpoints. They don't want to even go ahead and basically equip themselves with like good arguments. They just want to go ahead and listen to what a left-leaning media outlet says, or even somebody on social media says, without any facts to back it up. Okay. They'll have some facts to back it up, but the fact of the matter is, those facts won't actually be tangible or logical enough and factual enough to actually prove them right. And Ana Kasparian definitely hit the hammer on the nail with this one. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Also, be sure to include any additional details or thoughts you might have in this particular video. If you enjoyed what was shared in this video, go ahead and smash the like button and share the video far wide across social media. And if you haven't done so already, you enjoyed all the content that I put out there, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, click the bell notifications so that way you'll be notified of future uploads and updates. Till then, peace.